Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture's My Life. Now, in this episode, I sort of want to ring the alarms on an issue that's becoming more and more prevalent globally. And I've been speaking with quite a few of my colleagues from South America, Canada, throughout Europe, South Africa, East Africa, and a few of them from Japan, as well as India and Nepal and Panama. We had a huge virtual discussion several hours ago, and we were going over some numbers and some trending patterns that's going on in the world of acupuncture. You know, what's showing an uptick, what's sort of leveling off, what are we noticing that's on a decline as far as various patterns and disorders, syndromes. And one thing that we all shared was that heart attacks are becoming more and more common among women under the age of 54. That is a big concern. Why? Because heart disease is the most common cause of death in both women and men. And at one point it was to be understood, and I say to be understood, that heart attacks were for the most part a male problem. We went a step further outside of our discussion to review studies that are showing that heart attacks are becoming more and more common in women of younger ages. And that's a global concern at this point. And especially in light of what we've been faced with in the recent past, how has it changed our way of thinking with regard to how we eat, how we handle stress, how much exercise we get, and so forth and so on. Now, what are the causative factors that appear to be trending relative to this issue, and that being heart attacks becoming more common? And I wouldn't even say women under 54. Let's just even go like under 50. I mean, because this is a serious problem. And it really, really is. And you have two major risk factors for this. One is high blood pressure, and the other is diabetes. And it's getting to the point now that I had to run and sit with Chef Kiara and discuss doing 2 Eastern Nutrition episodes on the Acupuncture is My Life TV channel that streams on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, as well as Android TV, and you can even access it on every iPhone and Android device as well. And she's agreed that we should do an Eastern Nutrition episode on Acupuncture is My Life TV. And we're going to do that. Because this is a problem for young women today, and this is a global issue. It's not exclusive to the United States. This is a global issue. And you see, diet plays a big part in this issue relative to obesity, because a lot of women have put on a lot of weight lately. And that's what plays into elevated blood pressure as well as elevated blood sugar, which is playing a part in the increase in heart attacks among young women. And if this trend continues to rise, there will be problems. And and it plays into why I say, seeing your physician on an annual basis and seeing an acupuncturist for regular wellness visits, here again is another concern that's taken off your shoulders. Because let's just take, for instance, diabetes and obesity. How, in light of the past several months to several years, with everything that's going on and being faced with mental and emotional problems, how has it played into our diet? What have we done? What have women began to do over these past recent months and years, few years? Is they began to consume more greasy, sweet, rich foods. Alcohol consumption has gone up a great deal. And guess what this does from an acupuncturist perspective? It affects the function of your spleen and stomach. Now, I've said this in many episodes in the past. The spleen and stomach is responsible for the creation of all postnatal chi and blood. And that's blood and chi that's created after birth. And the spleen and stomach resides in a person's middle jiao. And once the function of the spleen and stomach becomes impaired, it impairs their digestive function, leading to food stagnation. And this food stagnation tends to generate heat. Because heat is drying, it then injures yin and fluids in the body, and symptoms of diabetes begins to present. Now, what else can cause diabetes to an acupuncturist? And this is all tied to heart attacks. But we're talking about stress plays a part too. And long-standing emotional stress can disturb the flow of chi within a person's body. And this chi, once it becomes stagnant, it transforms into intense heat, which consumes again yin and fluid of the lungs and the stomach. And there you have symptoms of diabetes again. So now, being obese and being stressed, obese due to improper diet and being stressed, that's how it plays into the onset of diabetes as understood by an acupuncturist. But now, what about hypertension? What about high blood pressure? Obesity, improper diet, again, overindulgence, let's say in rich, greasy, and sweet foods, injures the spleen and stomach. It leads to the generation of turbid dampness in the stomach, in the gut. And this turbid dampness, it further stagnates and transforms into heat. And this heat, which direction does heat go? Down or up? I'm sure you figured that one out. It goes up. And it affects the orifices in the head, where you have this ascending, where the ascending of clear yang and the descending of turbidity becomes interrupted. And there you have hypertension. And when you sit with an acupuncturist, they'll explain all of this into detail. They'll go deep into detail about this. But then even outside of diet, again, emotional stress, excessive anger, frustration, predisposing factors for, let's say, stagnation of the chi of the liver. And this stagnant chi turns to intense heat. It exhausts the yin of the liver. And when you have deficient yin, now yin and yang is out of balance. And yang becomes hyperactive, and there's your symptoms of high blood pressure. Sit with an acupuncturist. They'll go into detail with you about this. If you want to learn on your own, you can always watch the Acupuncture is My Life channel on YouTube, because we explain this. But this is a huge problem among women. It's a disturbing trend. It's very much a disturbing trend. And, and being proactive, you have to see an acupuncturist. Again, as a licensed board certified doctor of acupuncture, I can tell you firsthand, health is wealth. The wealth is not in the stock market. It's not in the bank. It's not in the safe. It's not in your purse or your pocket. It's not under your mattress. It's not in the shoebox, in the closet. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. It's in you. It's in you. And you must see a physician on an annual basis. Establish regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. And if you haven't already done so, and I've spoken about heart attacks in the past. If you haven't already done so, do it. Because symptoms, let's talk about symptoms of heart attack. Now we'll get past the precursors, that being obesity, diabetes, hypertension. If you're ever feeling symptoms of a heart attack, and it's like this uncomfortable pressure or squeezing sensation or fullness or pain in the center of your chest. Now pay attention. Do these symptoms last more than a few minutes? Does it go away and come back? Do you experience pain or discomfort in one or even both of your arms, or your back, neck, jaw, or even your stomach? Are you experiencing or ever experienced shortness of breath with chest discomfort? Do you break out in cold sweats, feel nauseous, lightheaded? Or this new feeling of fatigue that you're like, where did this come from? You feel any of these symptoms, go to emergency care right away. And then when you're done, sit with your local acupuncturist or contact Acupuncture is My Life. Because this is a serious problem that I'm going to revisit in the near future. I'm going to keep you guys abreast as to any new developments, which direction this is going. But in the meantime, I need you to make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?